Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. Scott McTominay to Napoli from Manchester United. Here we go. I was just eating my dinner and someone's just served up the best dessert of the year. Scott McTominay's leaving Manchester United and I've even got a blue top on. I'll tell you what, Napoli, you're an incredible football club. I'll never ever hear a bad word said against Napoli again. This is probably their biggest signing since Maradona. Get in, and have a bit more of get in. This is a fantastic deal. Absolutely love it. I mean, there's some absolute nonsense floating around this evening that Scott McTominay, Ten Hag wanted to keep him and didn't want Agate. I mean, all I'm going to say to that is, and I'll say it about myself as well, don't listen to anybody who tells you anything about this summer transfer window because nobody's got anything right. The only two people who've updated us, and I say updated us, are Romano and Ornstein. What journalist has said this summer, watch out for this player for Man United? Nobody. So why are people starting to believe stories about Ten Hag didn't want this didn't happen, that didn't happen? Bullshit. We're reacting to news. That's what we're doing. We're reacting to news this summer, and I, for one, absolutely love it because that's what we should do. We're football fans. We should react. None of this fake ITK bullshit and leaks. Get rid of it. We just want to react. And I'm very happy that we're reacting to Scott McTominay leaving the football club. And we spoke about this last night. And look, Rio said it. We've heard another few people on social media saying it. It's such a shame that Scott McTominay's going. He's got the DNA, the DNA. Well, I've got the DNA then. You know, he ain't good enough for Manchester United. If you're running a sandwich shop and somebody keeps forgetting to butter the baps, you're going to get rid of them for somebody who can butter baps. It's as simple as that. I wish him all the best and I hope he does well. But I will never regret this deal the same way I didn't regret Fred going. The same way I won't regret Maguire going. The same way I didn't regret Alexis Sanchez going. This is progress. This is ruthless. And it makes me laugh how people, when we start being ruthless, lament the decision. I saw a clip today on X, Twitter, of Scott McTominay goals. And I was like, ooh, that was a good one. That was a good one. But then as he was sliding on his knees, I thought, no, I'll never see it again. I'll never see it again. And it wasn't in a bad way. It wasn't like Ronaldo going, oh, I'll never see that again. I was like, I'm really, really pleased for what he did at the club. The Brentford game last year. Not many people wanted to celebrate that. I loved it. But I'm so glad it's over. That chapter is closed because I've always said, lovely lad, really well liked within the club. Cannot say that. You know, when we had the chat with Rasmus in January, I basically said to Rasmus off camera, how shit is McTominay? I didn't say that. I didn't say that at all. But what Rasmus did say to me is that Scotty, what a lovely lad he is, you know, unprompted. So, look, I know that. I know that. You know that. He's a lovely lad and he cares about Man United, but he's just not good enough. Would Pep Guardiola keep people because they're not good enough? No, he wouldn't. Pep Guardiola gets rid of people like Cancelo who are good enough but are a bad apple. We have to trim the shit. We have to. And I know that's a short, harsh word, but if that's too harsh for you, go and support a mid-table club. Because this is what Sir Alex Ferguson made a career out of, and this is what I grew up on. Ruthless. David Beckham got kicked out of the squad because he was doing too many bloody photo shoots. One of the best right foots in world football. Kicked out of Man United because he was doing too much marketing work. Ruud van Nistelrooy, one of the best strikers we've ever had, kicked out the club because he fell out with the Nevilles. Or was that Jaap Stam? I can't remember. I think Ruud van Nistelrooy fell out with Ronaldo. Jaap Stam fell out with the Nevilles, booted out. Roy Keane slagged off Darren Fletcher, booted out. You think it's ruthless to say that player's not good enough, I'm glad he's going. You might want to check our history. You don't know the bloody meaning of the word. And we're all children of Sir Alex of a certain age. I'm not saying Sir Alex was putting it out a bit. I'm not saying that. We don't need to do those DNA tests. But for many of us of a certain age, when it comes to football, we are children of Sir Alex. And we are ruthless and we do demand standards and we want to win because we've been there before and we've seen that movie and we enjoy it. There has never been a manager as ruthless as Sir Alex. The ironic thing is, Sir Alex really likes McTominay, but I'll tell you for free, he wouldn't have him in his squad. He might think he would, but he wouldn't have him in his squad because he ain't bloody Darren Fletcher and he ain't John O'Shea and he ain't Wes Brown, because John O'Shea and Wes Brown would be in squads of Arsenal today. They would be part of those teams because that's how good they were. They were very, very good players. We still have more Scott McTominays to move from this squad. We can all select who we think they are. I know who I think they are. There are still more that need to go. But I applaud Scott McTominay because he wanted to go. And in relation to this story about, Ten Hag not wanting him to go and wanting Agate, it's complete and utter shite. Shite. Now, look, I'm not happy with Ten Hag at the moment. I wasn't happy with him on Saturday, and I'm not particularly happy with the decisions he's made. But I'm not going to have him. I'm not going to have this little, let's throw a bit more shit at him because people are a bit unhappy with him at the moment. It's complete and utter bollocks. Ten Hag is just a manager who wants as many options as he can. And who can blame him? It's a bit like being a general in the war, isn't it? You've got all this artillery and somebody says, oh, we've got to take that away. You want as much as you've got. You want as much as you can. And after last season, when he didn't have enough resources, he's obviously going to want to cling on to something, because at the end of the day, if you're Erik Ten Hag and Ineos is saying we want to sell McTominay and he's saying I want to sell Casemiro, and then Ineos says, well, we can't sell Casemiro, so we're selling McTominay, Ten Hag's probably going to go, but the replacement, but Agate's the replacement for Casemiro. McTominay's something very different. McTominay's the guy I throw on for a goal in the last 20 minutes. That's why he wanted to keep him, because McTominay, whether we agree with it or not, was the guy that Ten Hag could turn to and throw on to get a goal. It makes no sense that Ten Hag would say, I don't want Agate, I want McTominay. They don't even play in the same bloody position. It's a nonsense. What the truth is, Ten Hag wanted to keep McTominay and obviously have Agate, probably move Casemiro and Eriksen on. But look, we've had to sell McTominay to raise money for Agate. But in correlation to it was one or the other, it's a nonsense. They're different types of players. But the big thing is, and I've got to shout out UTD Menace on Twitter because he said this to me about 2 months ago. He said, I know what you heard in February, but it's massively changed. McTominay's pushing his way out of Man United. He wants to go. He wants to go and play football somewhere. And I applaud that. And look, I've not always been the biggest fan of McTominay as a player. I certainly haven't. And that's just based on the fact that I don't think he's good enough. As a personality, as a person, as efforts, as passion go, he could teach a lot of our players a lot of things, but that's not enough without talent. If McTominay had the talent of Sancho, he'd be world class because he's got everything else, but he doesn't have the talent of Sancho. And another thing that McTominay's got that he should be applauded for, because he's got to go. It's 100% right. I don't want him not to go at all. But where I do applaud Scott McTominay is that he's done something that many people in that squad won't do. Knock on the door for first team football. There's a lot of people at United that, want to stay and fight for their shirt, which when you translate it to real talk is actually want to sit on my arse on a very lucrative contract and run it down because I'll never earn this money anywhere else. Scott McTominay wasn't on a particularly lucrative contract, but even if he was, he's knocking on the door saying, I want to go. And you've got to applaud that. You have to applaud that. Good luck, McTominay. Agate on his way to Manchester, according to Romano. Yeah, I think we'll get official Agate tomorrow. In relation to Sterling, I'm live at 8 o'clock. So there's lots to talk about that. This is just a reaction to McTominay. I will always try and do this for every player that deserves a bit of a send-off. And, we've done it for Fred. We've done it for Wan-Bissaka this summer. They deserve it. So smash a like on the video. Look, it's the right decision to do, but there has been a contribution in Manchester United's recent history from Scott McTominay. There has been, whether you like that or not. Did some research for a potential Agate nickname. The honoured ancient warrior tribe of Uruguay. Perfect match with the Butchers is Canadian. Hi, Mark. Good price for Scooby-Doo. Yeah, so it's £25 million, 30 million euros, and there is a bit of a sell-on clause there. I think that's a good deal. I do. I agree with you, Tom Grant. What do you think about the sale of Hannibal? Remarkable. Remarkable. We get 5 million plus 4 in add-ons. Very good deal. That was a good price as well. Are you expecting any surprises on deadline day? Well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that at 8 o'clock because I am expecting some stuff, yes. Lego Fun for All says, let's not make him another Gallagher. Thanks, Scott, says Lego Fun All. And best birthday present ever, says Shane. See you later, Scooby-Doo. Thank you, Shane, and happy birthday. Sachin says, oh, we've done that one from Sachin, haven't we? Absolutely fantastic. Just on McTominay as well, I suppose is there any danger that we've made the wrong decision here? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think that when you think about it, he's 28. I thought he was 26. He's 28. He's 27 at the moment, but he's 28 in December. This is, if I'm going to be harsh, it's overdue. Like, you're telling me, like, he's been here his whole career. He's a youth player. I think this decision could have been made 3 or 4 years ago, to be honest with you. We have got a good fee out of Napoli for it. But I think going into, he's 27, going to be 28 very soon. It's absolutely the right decision. And you could argue it should have been done sooner. But 100%, there is not one part of me. You know what? Even if he was a decent-ish player, which, let's say he is, he's 28 this year. You don't cash in now, you never cash in. It's absolutely the right time to do it. If it would be now or never. 100% it's now or never if you want to cash in with a bit of money. And it's the right time for him as well. We saw people like Phil Neville and Nicky Butt go at similar ages. Now, he's nowhere near as good as those two players. But, if he wants to go and play a bit of first team football, it's the perfect time for him. It's the perfect time for us. It's a good fee for us. And I think it symbolises something that I hope Ineos follow through on. Is that we are a football club that wants to be at the top of the English Premier League. And if you want to be at the top of the English Premier League, then you've got to be ruthless. And yeah, there'll be people who overhype crap players, and there'll be managers that want to keep as many options as they can, because that's what managers do. But you've got to be ruthless, and you've got to look. I mean, look, one of the things about being behind in a race is the solutions are very easy. If you're losing a running race, you've got to run quicker, and you've got to maintain that speed over a period of time and hold stamina to get back in the race. You might not be able to do that. It might not be good enough to do that. But when you're losing, it's very easy to know what the solution is. It's the hardest thing in the world is to find the solution. Manchester United, it's very easy to know what standard needs to be set to win the Premier League because Arsenal and Man City are hitting it. So we know we've got to get another 30 points to be in a title race? That's a lot. Another 30 points to be in a title race. That's like a 40% increase on what we would normally expect to get. So the increase is massive. It's not marginal gains. It's a massive gain. And if you know what you've got to get to compete and your target is to be the best, you can't carry a lot of these players in this squad anymore. The Wan-Bissakas of this world, the Scott McTominays of this world, the Victor Lindelofs of this world, they've got to go. In fact, there's better players than them that's got to go. That's the scary thing. People are going, oh, should we let McTominay go? Oh, should we let Wan-Bissaka go? Oh, should we let Maguire go? And it's like, actually, you might need to have chats about people better than that. Luke Shaw, Marcus Rashford, at the end of the day, Casemiro, maybe even Delo at some point. And I'm just chucking names at you. What I'm saying is, if people are moaning about Wan-Bissaka and McTominay going, what happens when we replace them and we're still 10, 15 points off? You've got to do it again. You've got to get even more ruthless. Now, I'm not for 1 minute saying that we've got to get rid of Delo. What I'm saying is, we don't know what we've got to get rid of to get to the level we want to go to, because that is a high level. So don't be moaning about getting rid of people at this level, because we might have to get rid of a few more of a much better ability. Hi, Mark. What do you think about Ugarte against Liverpool? I think sub for Casemiro around the 65th minute. Also, I want Garnacho as a super sub for Liverpool. Sub's been working for him. JHP. Why do you want Garnacho as a... What happened to my glasses there? We got stuck up. Why do you want Garnacho to be a super sub so that we... What? So we can start Marcus Rashford and he can put in another 5 out of 10? So what's the point of having a super sub if you've got a shit starter? Come on. It's a good move all round, and all the best to McTominay, says Emily Derry. Get in. No more Ricky clips, says Jay. I don't know what Ricky's doing tonight. He's certainly not in his garden with his top off, swinging it around. He should have been told a long time ago, just don't bring in Sterling. Well, we're going to talk about that at 8 o'clock, Thomas. Not the biggest name, but definitely a signal of intent from Ineos, says Patrick Lynch. It's about building a new squad. McTominay feels very like the old mediocre guard, and I will miss Mark going at McTominay in watch-alongs, but as a neutral, I wish him all the best, says Rub. And news, Chelsea now probably going to go for Osman, says Fidget. I'd heard about Tony earlier, but that will be a good deal for them. Sterling is rubbish tier. One final Scooby-Doo, says Kyle. Scooby-Doo? I can't do that anymore. Scooby-Doo. I absolutely can't do it anymore. Tom Grant's a legend. He's gifted 5 memberships. Thank you very much for that. You're an absolute legend, Tom. Let me just say this to you as well. I'm tired of people talking about how Ten Hag has spent £600 million and now he must win the league. I mean, social media is full of it. And some of the people talking about it are Manchester United fans. 2 things I want to say about this. 2 years ago, when Erik Ten Hag took over Manchester United, he took over the worst Premier League club of Manchester United in our history. The worst ever points total. We didn't even hit 60 points. We spoke about it, everybody else spoke about it, all the experts spoke about it, and the big conversation was, Erik Ten Hag's coming into Manchester United, it's the worst ever Manchester United Premier League side, how does he get them back competing with the likes of Manchester City? And absolutely everybody said, to get this squad up to the level of Man City, it needs at least £1 billion spending on it. So pray tell me why 2 years later, suddenly £1 billion is £500 million. It's laughable. And you know what? You know what really makes me laugh? Is that on top of everybody agreeing it was going to take the worst ever Man United Premier League side £1 billion at least to get near Man City, and we're not even halfway there yet. Most people said it was going to take 3 to 5 years. I would say 5 from 2 years ago. So we're not even halfway through that either. Just call it out for the nonsense it absolutely is. £600 million and he's meant to be delivering a title. Idiots. Absolute prats. £1 billion is not 600 million and 2 years is not 5 years. Yes, I agree. We've got to get top 4 this year. Yes, I agree. We can't be doing what we did against Brighton and it must be called out. But let's not pretend that we've got to suddenly be challenging Man City when we're only halfway through. There ain't no way that team 2 years ago only needed £500 million spending on it. No fucking way. No way at all. At least £1 billion. So we're not even halfway there on what needs to be spent. And also, since when is 600 million 540 million? Because I've done the maths. And every single signing we've made, converted from euros to sterling, is 540 million. Rounding up. So why have we spent 600 million? You don't round up from 540, you round down. I know maths. If it's 5.6, you go to 6. If it's 5.4, you go down. That's the rules. And if it's 5.5, you do tend to round up. We're 540 million has been spent by Ten Hag. So why are people talking about 600? Where does the extra 60 come from? And don't talk to me about fucking add-ons, because the whole point of add-ons is if that player does well, you pay the add-ons. So in which case, you've screwed yourself anyway, because that means they're a bloody success. So it's not 600 million, it's 540 million. So stop adding 60 million on. They're adding like 10% on. Knobheads. He's been great for the club, says Luke. Part of the DNA for many fans, but right move at the right time. Our 18 should all be potential starters for a Ten Hag side. Luke, what's this bullshit about the DNA? I'm sorry. No. It's not McTominay's fault. It's Rio's fault, and it's your fault, Luke. What's this bollocks about DNA for many fans? What? Why is Scott McTominay DNA? not fucking DNA of Man United at all. So the DNA of Manchester United is you're a player that's average who's come through the youth system. Bog off. Get your standards up. DNA. You know what DNA of Man United is? It's the Busby Babes. It's George Best. That's what the DNA of Manchester United is. It's the class of 92. It's not Scott McTominay. Come on. I'm not having a pop at McTominay there. I'm having a pop at Luke and Rio, who have both said Scott McTominay's the DNA of Man United. Shut up. Absolutely shut up. Come on. The DNA of Manchester United is to bloody win things. It's not just because you played for the youth setup. So Kieran Richardson's the DNA of Man United, is he? Chris Eagles? DNA of Man United? No, absolutely not. Come on, let's get some standards going here. I know 2024 is all about everybody, but come on. McTominay running onto the pitch in spirit, says Sheeran. And a lot of the signings were overpaid, so it's probably not even 500 million, says Luca. Well, yeah, I mean, you could get into that. Avi says, we are fixing the quality of the starting 11 to fix the depth of the squad. Will take another season or two. I do agree with you about that. You should get Ricky. You should have got Ricky doing this one, says Faisal. We do need Ricky's thoughts. McFred is now nothing but history, says Rocket. Yeah, Magaluf next, please. Joe, welcome to the Members Club. And Agate in and McTominay out. What an upgrade. Ineos has really exceeded my expectations. Hats off to them, says Jamesy. No, not for me, actually. You know what? I'm not going to overreact. I still do not agree that the outgoings are anywhere near as good as the incomings. I would say 7.5 out of 10 incomings because we haven't got a left back, which is a high priority for me. Outgoings, I'd say 6, maybe 6.5. Because we still haven't got rid of Sancho. Casemiro was meant to go. I think Maguire was meant to go. Lindelof was meant to go. Eriksen was meant to go. So there's still a lot of players that haven't gone. But I would say 6.5 on outgoings, 7.5 on incomings, which it ain't bad. Combination of the two, I'd say 7 out of 10, which ain't bad. And there's still a bit of time to go. As for Agate in and Scott McTominay out, what an upgrade. No. This is not a straight swap. This is financials. Agate is not a replacement for Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay is not a 6. He's not a holding midfielder. Scott McTominay was an attacking midfielder, and we found that out last season. McTominay is going because he's surplus to requirements and he raises money, and he's the only player that can raise money from that midfield. If Eriksen was worth 25, he'd go. If Casemiro had said, I'll go to Saudi Arabia, and they wanted him, McTominay would still be a Man United player. Scott McTominay has gone because he's the only midfielder we can get money for to bring in the 6. We've not replaced McTominay with Agate because they're not the same type of player. Football, thank you very much for your super chat. And a lot of the signings were overpaid, so it's probably not even 500 million, says Luca. Do you think we'll get any other midfielder coming in, says Sapatashi? Because we do need that. I think that we've got... It's all about Sancho at the moment. I'll be talking about that on the 8 o'clock show. And I think there's always a possibility of an Amrabat or a Rabiot, but it's ridiculously quiet around that. We think it's ridiculously quiet around a left back. I've got an interesting thing to say about Sterling because I'm not saying I want it to happen, very, very much far from it. But what I will say is I'm absolutely against it, and I'll go through why at 8 o'clock. But if he is signed, what are we going to do? Boo him? There's nothing we can do. We'd have to back it. I'm just saying that, like, vocally, yeah, I'm 100% against Sterling signing for Man United. But if he does sign for Man United, we're not seriously going to, like, get Ineos out banners and Ten Hag out banners and boo Sterling, are we? We'd have to support him. And I didn't want Lukaku. I didn't want Matic. I didn't want Fellaini. But you still give him a chance, surely. But I really hope we're not going to do that. As for a midfielder, I would like another midfielder to come in, but I don't know whether we've got the time to do it, and I don't know whether we've got the inclination either. Will you miss McTominay's strength, though? He has a nice body, says Harry Willie. Okay. I'm grateful for McTominay's last season performance, but come on, Ronaldo the GOAT is United DNA. I've seen Sunderland players put the same passion and skill as Scott McTominay, says Andre. Thank you very much. Okay, thanks everyone for tuning in. Well done. I think it's nice that we can do this, even though some of us are very happy that he's going. I think it's nice that we can just, acknowledge and wish a player all the best. So Scott McTominay to Napoli, here we go. And Manchester United have done a very good deal there. I think he's done a very good deal for himself, and I hope it works out. Honestly, I've never expected McTominay to go. I'm very happy and I wish him all the best. Had the right mindset, but never had the talent, says Tun. I still don't really believe it until he's holding up the shirt, by the way. I mean, it's very rare for a here we go to not happen, but until he's holding the shirt, there is still a part of me that's like, let's not count our eggs before they've been hatched. Ericsson out and Amrabat in, thoughts, says Brian. Maybe there is time, but at the moment, not really hearing anything about that. Take care, everybody. We're back at 8 o'clock. I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Speak to you in a bit.